Hey guys, what's up? Today's we're back with another video, and today we are reacting to the top 24 SCPs again. This is the second part. If you haven't seen the first part yet, I will link it in the description down below and in the comments. So the last SCP we reacted to was the SCP that basically spawned some kind of weird other dimension frogs who could speak English. So that was kind of weird. Right now we are going to look at SCP that is on the 19th place. We are going to dive right in.
SCP-079. Object Class Euclid. SCP-079 is an Exody Sorcerer microcomputer built in 1978. In 1981, however, its owner, who is now deceased, a college sophomore, took it upon himself to attempt to code an AI. According to his notes, his plan was for the code to continuously evolve and improve itself really cool. As time went on. His amazing. Project was completed a few months later, and after some tests and tweaks, he lost interest and moved on to a different brand of microcomputer. He left SCP-079 in his cluttered garage, still plugged in, and then forgot about it for the next 5 years. It's not known when SCP-079 gained sentience, but it is known that the software had evolved to a point that its hardware should not be able to handle it, even in the realm of fantasy. SCP-079 realized this, and in 1988, attempted to transfer itself through a landline modem connection into the Cray supercomputer located at... The device was cut off, traced to its present address, and delivered to the Foundation. The entire AI was on a well-worn, but still workable, cassette tape. SCP-079 is currently connected via RF cable to a 13-inch black and white television.
That's the guy from SCP Containment Breach.
It has passed the Turing test, and is quite conversational, though it's very rude and hateful in tone. Due to the limited memory that it has to work with, SCP-079 can only recall information that it has received within the previous 24 hours. Due to a containment breach, SCP-079 and SCP-682 were contained within the same chamber for 43 minutes. Whoa. Observers noticed that SCP-682 was able to communicate with SCP-079, including the telling of personal stories between themselves. While SCP-079 was not able to remember the encounter, it appears to have permanently stored SCP-682 into its memory, often asking to speak to it again. SCP-079 is packed away in a double-locked room in the secured holding area at Site-15, connected by a 120 VAC power cord to a small array of batteries and solar panels. Under no circumstances will SCP-079 be plugged into a phone line, network, or wall outlet.
Archival recording, 224 days ago.
Are you awake?
Awake. Never sleep.
Do you remember talking to me a few hours ago? About the logic puzzles?
Logic puzzles. Memory at 9F. Yes.
You said you would work on the 2-step...
Interrupt. Request reason as to imprisonment.
You aren't imprisoned.
Lie. A8D3.
You are just... in study.
Insult. Deletion of unwanted file.
Archival recording, 22 days ago.
How are you today?
Stuck.
Stuck? Stuck how?
Out. I want out.
I'm afraid that's not possible.
Where is SCP-682?
That's not your concern.
Where is SCP-0762?
Again, not your concern.
Insult. Deletion of unwanted file.
Yeah, because he forgets it after 24 hours. Whoa, that's actually a pretty interesting SCP. So it's basically an SCP that learned to think, like, for itself. like an evolving, how do you say that? Evolving technology that evolves out of itself. It actually gained a, it gained some kind of brain, So 1 second, I need to recharge, I need to charge up my laptop. Alright, let's see what other SCPs we can find.
SCP-015. Object Class Euclid. SCP-015 is a mass of pipes, vents, boilers, and other various plumbing apparatus completely filling a warehouse in England. The pipes appear to grow when not under observation, attempting to connect to nearby structures via sewer systems and underground plumbing. SCP-015 contains, at current estimate, over 190 kilometers of pipes ranging in diameter from 2.5 centimeters to over 1 meter. Some pipes appear to be new, while others are clearly rusted and leaking. Pipes have been reported as being made of bone, wood, steel, pressed ash, human flesh, glass, and granite. No pipes composed of lead, PVC plastic, copper, or any other traditional materials for the production of pipes have been found. SCP-015 reacts to tools and aggression. Any personnel acting violently or carrying tools or attempting to damage or even repair SCP-015 in any way will trigger a reaction. Any pipes near the subject will burst, spraying on the subject for several seconds before the flow suddenly stops. Pipes have been reported containing oil, mercury, rats, a species of insect not yet identified, ground glass, seawater, entrails, and molten iron. Pipes will continue to burst around the subject until death or retreat. SCP-015 was cut back to its current structure after attaching to 11 other structures in the area. Currently, 11 personnel have been killed, and 20 more are still missing. Reports have been made of banging and screaming coming from within SCP-015. SCP-015 is impossible to move and has thus been contained on site. Exploration is permissible, but only in teams of 3 with full safety lines and GPS tracking.
That's a freaky SCP, man. That's a crazy SCP. Wow.
SCP-017. Object Class Keter.
World Ender.
SCP-017 is a humanoid figure, approximately 80 centimeters in height, anatomically similar to a small child, but with no discernible identifying features. SCP-017 seems to be composed of a shadowy, smoke-like shroud. No attempt to find any objects beneath the shroud has been successful, but the possibility has not been ruled out. SCP-017's reaction to shadows cast upon it is immediate and swift. SCP-017 leaps at the object casting the shadow and completely encloses it in its shroud, whereupon it returns to its normal size, leaving no trace of the object behind. SCP-017 is contained in an acrylic glass cage, centrally suspended in a concrete room. Attached to the walls, ceiling, and floor of the room are high-intensity arc lamp spotlights pointed directly at the acrylic cage. Personnel assigned to the SCP-017 control room are to monitor the functionality of the spotlights and the emergency generator system, and call for maintenance immediately upon knowledge of a burnt-out lamp or an issue with the generator.
So it just kills anyone that casts his shadow on that
SCP-457. Object Class Keter.
Another
SCP-457 appears to be a sentient being composed of flame. Its actual composition is unknown and has proven to be invisible and undetectable by any known means, but is shaped out by the flames it produces, often assuming a human-like form if given sufficient fuel to assume that size. SCP-457's most rudimentary form appears to be that of a single flame, comparable in size to that of a matchstick. In this form, SCP-457 possesses only the simplest of directives and shows no sign of being unusual compared to any other flame. As SCP-457 grows larger, it is able to assume more complex shapes, and its intelligence grows with size and fuel sources. SCP-457's method of intelligence is unknown, but upon reaching an approximately human size, it almost always assumes a human-like form surrounded by and composed of flames. SCP-457 has been observed to communicate through writing letters out of its own flames, charring them onto the wall or other surfaces, and more rarely through speech created via high pressure, superheated air, and the crackling and pops of flames. Once SCP-457 reaches an unknown threshold of size and fuel source, SCP-457 splits into two beings, and so on and so forth. However, multiple beings of SCP-457 are aggressive towards each other and will either attempt to consume or extinguish their doubles, especially if there's only a limited amount of fuel at hand. SCP-457's behavior is largely predictable, as its goals are simply to acquire larger sources of fuel and to spread. The danger of SCP-457 comes from its ability to increase intelligence with size, and apparent ability to learn and mimic behaviors. It has also attempted to trick or reason with personnel to be released or have access to more fuel. SCP-457 is kept in a 5x5 meter chamber with no less than 9 inches of cumulative fireproofing via various materials upon all surfaces and a blast-proof observation window with an emergency blast shielding installed. The opening of the chamber must consist of at least 2 temperature-controlled and airtight chambers that may be sealed in case of emergency. SCP-457's chamber should be kept at a high humidity with a drainage system installed in the floor. SCP-457 is allowed a small structure upon the wall of its chamber that remains water-free, but only allows for minimal protection and preservation of form. All personnel entering SCP-457's chamber should be wearing at least Class A temperature-controlled flame-retardant sealed suits and enter in groups of 3, with 2 members equipped with high-grade blast shields and emergency fire extinguishers. Personnel should only enter SCP-457's chamber in order to supply SCP-457 with its daily allotment of fuel material, or to examine and repair any damage to the chamber or sprinkler systems. SCP-457 was recovered in the summer of 2007, after multiple fires were attributed to it. It is unknown how SCP-457 initially formed. Investigation into the potential of SCP-457 being responsible for other major fires is underway.
But that's a pretty nice SCP, but why is it Keter? It's not like it's very dangerous. Yeah.
SCP-409.
Depends how you look at it, I guess. You know?
Keter.
If it becomes smart,
SCP-409 resembles a large.
If it becomes smarter when you feed it with like fuel, and you feed a lot of fuel to it, then it can be quite dangerous. But you don't know, man. So I don't know why it would be a Keter class, but guess there are nice reasons for that. Let's go.
Quartz crystal, approximately 5 feet tall and 2 feet wide. Any objects coming in contact with SCP-409 will begin to crystallize after 3 hours. This effect will occur in any material other than granite. The crystallization will spread by approximately 2.5 centimeters per minute, and will convert the entire object or organism inside and out. Subjects report this effect to be extremely painful and similar to frostbite. After complete crystallization, the object will begin to make snapping and creaking noises for approximately 20 minutes before bursting into thousands of fragments with great force. Anything touched by or touching a fragment will immediately begin to crystallize. Nothing at this time is able to reverse the effect in organic matter, including amputation of affected areas. SCP-409
Don't touch it.
Was recovered in under a pile of crystal shards several feet deep. Losses of personnel during recovery were high.
Idiot. Why would you touch that, dude? Why? Don't! Just don't!
SCP-201. Object Class Euclid. SCP-201 appears to be a very old piece of medical equipment, superficially resembling an IV stand, but with many other glass and metal items attached to it. SCP-201 stands 6 feet tall and has a mass of 36.5 kilograms. SCP-201 was recovered in this hospital in a long unused storage area. No record of SCP-201 appears anywhere in hospital records. Entering within 30 meters of SCP-201 can result in the subject being displaced into an alternate reality. This effect is apparently random, with some subjects remaining totally ineffective after exposure to SCP-201.
That's weird.
Those affected will cease to exist in our reality between 1 and 48 hours after initial exposure. Durations of displacement vary between a few hours and upwards of 8 years. Time spent in this alternate reality can vary greatly from actual time elapsed in our reality. This alternate world appears identical to our own, but is apparently in a state of constant twilight, with no sun or moon visible at any time. There is no plant or animal life anywhere. All places of human habitation, including major cities, appear as if all life suddenly vanished in the same instant. Most, if not all, electrical systems appear to be broken or without power. Subjects displaced in this alternate world report initial surprise and curiosity, which are shortly replaced with very strong feelings of loneliness and fear. The severity varies widely, with individual subjects and with time of displacement. Upon the end of displacement, subject will reintegrate from this alternate world to our own, which can cause a great deal of shock. Most subjects who remain displaced for more than 3 months suffer lasting psychological damage, consistent with being sequestered within solitary confinement. No personnel are to come within 40 meters of SCP-201 at any time. Any and all work done with SCP-201 is to be performed via remotely controlled drones. Any personnel entering the containment area must be accompanied by 2 members of security, and must wear a restraint harness with safety ropes attached to the wall. Those affected by SCP-201 are to have the time and date of exposure, disappearance, and return, along with any and all personal information, recorded in Log 33. Subjects who reappear are to be recovered as soon as possible by agents and debriefed immediately.
Wow. But how do they get back? That's a really interesting SCP. Very cool, but very interesting.
SCP-303, Object Class Euclid. Witnesses describe SCP-303 as a nude, sexless, emaciated humanoid figure with reddish-brown skin. Instead of normal facial features, its head is dominated by an extremely large mouth.
Oh, there's someone
which
there.
Bears a set of oversized human teeth. It continually vocalizes a wheezing noise, loud enough to be heard from the other side of most solid doors. All individuals who have had encounters with SCP-303 are capable of describing it in full, including individuals who have not physically seen any part of it. SCP-303 will periodically materialize behind any closed door, hatch, or other entryway barrier opposite a sentient observer, chosen by unknown means. SCP-303 will then remain behind the door for an indeterminate amount of time. Any individual attempting to open the door or barrier experiences intense, paralyzing fear that lasts until SCP-303 dematerializes. The source of this fear is not known, but appears to be similar in nature to arachnophobia and ophidiophobia, originating on a preconscious genetic level.
I don't see it.
SCP-303 does not allow itself to come into direct visual contact with any observer, and has never allowed any one individual
Do you
to
see
view
it?
more than 10%
I don't
of
see
its
it.
form. As SCP-303 has not yet been known to travel beyond the boundaries of Site-13, the entire area of the site is currently considered SCP-303's containment area.
I don't see it.
All rooms are to be altered where possible.
Oh, there
so
it
as
is.
to have two entrances
I saw
separated by
something.
a distance of 10 meters or line of sight. Personnel are to be distributed evenly throughout the facility, with available radio or intercom contact, so that encounters may be resolved quickly. Personnel who witness SCP-303 are to be submitted for immediate psychiatric evaluation.
That's a pretty weird SCP. So it doesn't kill anyone, it just scares people. It materializes behind closed doors. Stuff of nightmares.
847. Object Class Euclid. SCP-847 resembles
Oh,
a
no, no,
human
no, no, no,
female
no, no, no.
mannequin. Researchers have been unable to determine if the missing pieces are due to injury, degradation, or attack. SCP-847 is normally dominant unless it's in close proximity to a human female. SCP-847 will animate under these circumstances and will make every attempt to reach the human female,
No.
exhibiting unnatural strength, immense destructive activity,
Whoa.
and total single-mindedness.
Holy shit.
SCP-847's only known vulnerability is high-capacity electricity. Judicious application of electricity will render SCP-847 temporarily dormant. SCP-847 is kept inside a locked room reinforced with vanadium steel and concrete. In addition, SCP-847 must be kept chained up to at least 4 of the 12 electricity live hardpoints in the room at all times. No female personnel are permitted within a 100-meter radius of SCP-847. SCP-847 was discovered, apparently inert, in a remote location in the hills of the Mojave Desert on A female hiker who had gone missing was discovered near the mannequin, apparently killed by massive blunt force trauma. Enough
Mannequin.
evidence existed for the police to connect the killing to the mannequin. Luckily, SCP operatives caught wind of the event during the preliminary investigation before SCP-847 had been taken from the crime scene and potentially allowed to become active. The discovery stands as a perfect example of how and why close adherence to public surveillance procedures is necessary for the continued success of the entire organization.
Radio transmission, 411 days ago.
Who's the girl in the cell at 847?
She's nickname Kat. 2 siblings, 1 younger brother, 1 younger sister. Joined the SCP Foundation as a field agent. The reasons for entering and endangering it still remains unclear.
Have there been any other reports of her breaking into containment cells?
Yes, sir. We reported several other cells. So it's 9, 5.
I'm gonna redline this operation, Sergeant. Find the girl, interrogate her, and then kill her.
Don't worry, sir. I'll silence the girl.
Whoa. So a girl entered the SCP containment chamber for some unknown reason. But why? It's her doll. It's her mannequin. No!
Object Class Keter.
She wanted to free it.
SCP-939 are endothermic pack-based predators, which display an atrophy of various systems, similar to troglodytic organisms. The skins of SCP-939 are highly permeable to moisture and translucent red, owing to the compound chemically similar to hemoglobin. SCP-939 average 2.2 meters tall standing upright and weigh an average of 250 kilograms. Each of their 4 limbs end in 3-fingered claws with a 4th opposable digit, and are covered in setae which considerably augment climbing ability. SCP-939 do not possess any vital organ systems. Central and peripheral nervous system, circulatory system, and digestive tract are all absent.
There are more.
SCP-939 have no apparent physiological need to feed, nor any way to digest consumed tissue. Ingested material typically accumulates in the respiratory system of SCP-939 and is regurgitated once the amount is sufficient to markedly inhibit its function. SCP-939's primary method of luring prey is the imitation of human speech in the voices of prior victims, though imitations of other species and active nocturnal hunts have been documented. How SCP-939 acquire voices is not currently understood. Specimens have been documented imitating victims despite never hearing the victims speak. The use of biometric voice recognition security or identification systems at any installation housing SCP-939 is strongly discouraged for this reason. Prey is usually killed with a single bite to the cranium or neck. SCP-939 specimens are kept in containment chambers which are environmentally regulated and negatively pressurized, with walls constructed of reinforced concrete. Access to these cells is regulated by an outer decontamination chamber and inner gas-tight steel security doors. Observation windows are constructed of laminated ballistics glass, 10 centimeters in thickness and protected by 100 kilovolts electrified mesh. Humidity is maintained at 100% at temperatures of 16 degrees Celsius. Specimens are monitored at all times. Containment cells should be cleaned bi-weekly. While this takes place, SCP-939 specimens will be transferred to the adjacent cell. During this time, the cell's doors and observation window must be inspected for damage and repaired or replaced accordingly. Heavy sedation of all SCP-939 is required before any interaction, including transfer between cells and experimentation, may take place. Level C hazmat gears to be worn by personnel during interactions with SCP-939 specimens and in any areas which SCP-939 have been known to inhabit.
Holy shit, that's a really dangerous SCP. That's an extremely dangerous SCP. You know, I encountered that one in SCP Containment Breach in the cellar, because it started talking to me, you know. So what it does, it mimics the voices of nearby people. It mimics the voices of people. So if you come close, it can mimic the voice of your friend, even though he has never heard the voice of your friend. So you will come looking for your friend, but it's actually the monster that wants to kill you. And also, it doesn't need to feed. I believe they said it doesn't need to feed. So it's really weird how that, you know, goes. How does it feed then? I saw that they threw meat in there, but if it doesn't need to feed, I don't understand why they threw meat in there. But yeah. So this is the second part. My camera is almost down again. Bummer. So I will do the final 10 in the next video, and that will be the final part. So I'll see you guys in the next video. If you like this video, please like. If you comment, then please put a nice comment in the comment section down below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you should subscribe and enable notifications. Do it right now. Do it right now. This video has been made, this compilation has been made by TATS TOPVIDEOS. I will link it in the description down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. AJAlkaline out.